Hi everybody, I'm Phil Fatika. Welcome back to the Millcreek Government Channel. Thanks for joining us. We have a topic for you right now that, well, I hope you don't ever have to use these two individuals, but you may know somebody who may need their services. And so we are very happy today to present to you the Erie County Public Defender. And that is the woman sitting in the middle, that's Pat Kennedy. And next to Pat, on her left, is Emily Mirsky. And Emily is the Assistant Public Defender. Now, I don't mean that to be mean or cruel, that you should go out of business. However, when I say that,
correct.
What is it that the public defender does?
Well, I think we can best sum it up that we represent those people in our county who are charged with misdemeanor or felony offenses, whether they be adults or juveniles, and cannot afford counsel. Okay.
I've heard sometime that your services are sometimes not appreciated. Is that possible?
It is possible.
That dirty fratzen so-and-so and should be thrown in and the key should be thrown away. Is that an accurate portrayal of some attitudes?
I think
hop in here any time.
I think that the attitude that I would like to break is that our clients are criminals. And I say that because we certainly represent people charged with crimes, but not everyone charged with a crime has a criminal pattern of thinking.
Right.
Many of our clients are the mentally ill, the drug addict combinations, and in the case of our juveniles, at the age of 12, 13, 14, they have some impulse control issues, behavioral issues. So how many clients we represent who are true criminals, I'm sure there are a few. But for the most part, we're dealing with more unfortunate members of society where it comes in.
Emily, I'll ask this. Use me as an example. I need your services, okay? Can I just come and knock on your door and say, Emily, I can't afford a lawyer. I have been charged with, or do I have to wait for the courts to say, Emily, you're going to take care of Phil because the judge has told you to do so? Like, I'm completely blank on how this process works. Okay.
If you are somebody who requires criminal defense and you can't afford it, that's what the public defender is there to provide. So no, you don't need a judge to tell you that you can come to our offices. It's guaranteed to you by the Constitution and specifically by your Miranda rights. You've all seen it on TV. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. Well, if you can't afford one, we're the ones that you would come to.
Is there a number that people would call?
Yes.
Is there a number on that paper?
There is a number on the paper.
459?
No. Well, the 459 number is our friends at Lawyers Referral Service for those who don't qualify.
Okay.
There's two ways of getting a public defender.
Right.
If you're incarcerated, we have investigators that go to the jail twice a day to ask incarcerated individuals whether they need the help of a public defender. But if one is in the community, they actually have to appear at our office at 509 Sassafras Street here in the city of Erie.
451-6322?
Correct.
We'll put that up on the screen for him, 451-6322. So I'm going to come back to you. I'm pretty down and out. I'm a married guy, got a family. I've been accused of stealing something from Sheets, a country fair. I say I didn't do it. They say, hey, we got you on tape. I say, that's not me. It looks a lot like me, but, you know, okay, don't do that. And it's a sizable amount of money. They say you stole some money out of the cash register. When it's open, you reach behind there. And I'm going, no, 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 I did not do that. Do I qualify in the first place for your services? Or is there a certain number or a certain figure that it has to be reached before you'll help me?
Yeah, it's going to depend on whether or not you qualify. There certainly is an income threshold. But it depends on how many people are in your household.
People in my household,
what your salary is, and then you know what sort of income you have.
Okay, so I do qualify. A chart we'll put up on the screen to see that if you qualify. Do I pay you?
No.
No.
No, our services rendered by the Public Defender's Office are covered by the county.
Okay. Would you cover a case as strong as a murder case, a capital murder?
Well,
you're right. I answered that quickly. Yes and no.
Yes and no. We certainly do the appeals.
Okay.
In Pennsylvania, you have to be certified to do a capital homicide.
Okay. So it goes beyond what you two are certified?
Well,
Or you are
There are
certified,
people
you're
in our
working on it?
office who are certified.
Okay, okay.
You
But-
have to have been practicing for so long to be
Okay.
certified.
Yeah,
But the issue is that our office does not do homicides generally
Okay.
because of the extent of the cost.
okay, yeah.
Now, we have done a couple in the last few years as a favor, I guess,
Okay.
to the courts because there were no attorneys within their contracts for homicides who were certified.
Okay,
So that's how we got involved with actually handling the homicides themselves.
Okay.
But we still have to be certified to do the appeals.
I would assume that your office is busy, that you really could use more help than you have now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so that means a lot of people qualify, as you said, Emily, qualify because of income, because of number of members of household, those kinds of things. And there's a whole list of reasons why you qualify, and there's a whole list of reasons that the services are provided. We're going to put those up on the screen for you. So beside the fact that I've come to you because I've been charged with perhaps stealing some money out of the cash register at a local convenience store, what about if I was charged, my wife said, you know, you beat me into the ground, you broke my jaw. Okay, and Phil, you did it. Emily, is that something I come to you? Hey, Em, I didn't do this. I didn't do this, you know. She's lying.
Well, if you were charged with a crime that's punishable,
Okay,
you would be qualifying for a public defender if you met the requirements.
yes. Okay.
If this is something that was going to be handled by, say, for example, a protection from abuse order,
Yeah,
it's different in that the public defender would only get involved, say, if you violated your protection from abuse order.
okay.
So if you were going to be held for doing so, you know.
So I just
in that
can't
regard.
run to you because I need a lawyer.
Not always.
Yeah,
Not always.
yeah. I understand you teach law.
I do.
I bet that's interesting.
It's a good way to put my my knowledge that I gain out in
Yeah.
the community practicing into putting it into an academic sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that Pat is, besides being a lawyer and the public defender,
Yes.
you don't ever want to play golf with this woman. But other than that, you did something. I think you still do something, or do you stop? That you are an official.
I used to be years ago.
You used to be an official
Used to be
for basketball.
basketball.
Yeah, basketball.
But-
And a darn good athlete when she was in college.
Well, I was retired in college. I decided to concentrate on my academics.
Oh, nice.
but,
Okay.
you know,
Well,
like
let's
that.
get to the services that the public defender will do for those individuals. And as I said, there's a list here. There's about 14, 15 things here. Let's take some of the general things. How about DUI?
Yes.
Driving under the influence.
We will represent people with DUIs.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
PFA, protection from abuse. Again,
Again, yes,
depends.
it depends.
uh-huh.
Typically, not in the initial, in just applying for one, but certainly if somebody was in violation of that.
And the
go ahead.
nuance there is we are required to appear when someone's liberty can be taken away
Okay.
with
Okay.
jail time.
Okay.
With the initial PFA, that's not the case. But if they are accused of violating that order, they could be sentenced up to 6 months in jail.
Okay.
And that Emily does a lot of our contempt hearings
Okay,
for those.
so that automatically shifts over into, well then, I'm here, and I'm going, I got to tell you, can we get together and have this done by Thursday or Friday? And you look at me and go, Phil, no, that's not going to happen because there's a schedule upon which and how this happens. So what is my schedule? I just have to wait in line until you can service what I need, or the courts, or you can go defend me, you know, go ahead.
Well, the court really dictates when things are going to be hammered out for you. So if you're charged with an offense, you go before your district magistrate, or the police will file charges. Your district magistrate being, Sumac or Lefevre or DePaulo or whomever, whatever area you've committed, whatever you're accused of, allegedly.
Yes.
And at that point, the process will begin. whether that's 2 weeks, whether that's 3 weeks, whether it's a month, sometimes it goes out a few months. It just depends on what their schedule's like.
Okay.
Sometimes it moves fast, sometimes it moves slow.
Yeah, do you ever fight the public image that it must be like it's on TV? That, you know, you're going to come in and we'll have this meeting in this glamorous office, and the proceedings will be there, and in about a week and a half you'll walk out and get a financial settlement and life is good, or it doesn't happen that way?
Well, I think that television has, and movies, has impacted a lot of things with the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
First, from the standpoint of the defendant and the victim, and in the speed and the process. But more importantly, juries.
Jurors.
Yes. Because of
Big nods from both people on that, because it wasn't a two-shot. They both went yes.
Because of movies and television is so popular with the NCIS and the CIS, certain things that are demonstrated on these shows, if they exist, the testing, et cetera, cost prohibitive for the DA or for us or what have you. So a lot of times when I pick a jury, I want to know if this is normal television viewing for a juror, because it could adversely impact what happens because of something they saw last week.
Emily, did you pick a jury too?
Yes.
And that's interesting you would say that. That wasn't in my list of questions, but I like you said that, because a lot of people go, I don't want that. I'm going to lie and tell them I can't get to work because my leg's broken. Okay? So how do you pick a jury? Would you pick me?
You didn't hear me say this all over again?
It all depends.
It all depends. The best lawyer answer I can give you.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on what kind of case. It depends on what my defendant is going to do, if he's going to, or he or she's going to testify. It depends on what the pool is like, what I'm choosing from. There's a reason that there are services that people hire juror consultants to do it. It's a very scientific process.
Here's the question for both of you. Did you always know that you want to be a lawyer? And then, or why did you choose being a lawyer first?
Well, as you know, when I was in college, I worked at TV24.
Yep.
Ran camera, and actually in college, I wanted to be a sportscaster.
Wow. And
during the ESPN infancy.
You took a turn somewhere.
I took a turn somewhere. I think where I took the turn was my senior year of college, and it was a situation where I found myself, I don't want to say unchallenged, but unchallenged.
Okay, no, fair to say.
I was watching a lot of TV, and I just thought there had to be more.
Okay.
So I knew that graduate school was important to me. I knew that I could go to graduate school in communications, but I opted to go the route of law.
Took the LSATs and away you went?
Took the LSATs. And
Emily, how about you?
I think I decided somewhere in high school that I wanted to be a lawyer. I think it sounded like a cool thing to do. I didn't really think, I had not a clue of what that meant at the time, but it sounded like a good idea. And you know, then it was just the path that I followed after college and graduate school. And I really love the aspect of helping somebody through a difficult time in their life. Nothing makes me feel better than when a client comes to me and say, you know, you really helped me, or I feel better because of when I talked to you, or, you know, you did a great job. So
I like what you said. I think it links to what Pat said earlier about the criminal aspect of what you do. Yeah, I really like that. There's so many things that you perhaps do. Let's take a look at some of the things that you don't do, and then you can expand on those. Family court matters, divorce, child custody, support conferences, hearings, PFA hearings, Office of Children and Youth. That's not you?
That's not us.
That's not you. So if you're listening, that's not them.
Yes.
That's not them.
Though I will say, if a person finds themselves with being investigated by the Office of Children and Youth, or maybe their kids have been removed and there's a detention hearing, court administration, they can go and apply for the appointment of counsel for that at the court administrator's office in the courthouse.
I know your workload is staggering. Can you put a number on that? How many cases
Sure.
you handle in a year, month, quarter, whatever, however you measure it?
Last year, our numbers, we handled 5,200 cases.
What?
5,200 cases. And this year...
5,200?
Yes.
If you took that on a weekly basis, that's 700, at 70 a week.
Yeah.
How can you handle 70 a week?
Well,
I mean,
it's very difficult.
You guys are smart.
It's difficult. Well, one also has to remember that we're just not obligated for the Court of Common Pleas.
Okay.
Under the Mental Health Act, for example, we are required to attend commitment hearings at the local hospitals, St. Vincent's and Millcreek, if someone is, because their liberty's at risk. So if someone has been involuntarily committed and the doctors wish to extend that stay, we are required to be there. And so far this year, we've done close to 300 of those hearings.
Wow. I think I got my math wrong. 5,200 divided by 50 is 120.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said 7. That's a staggering number.
Yeah.
Like how many you carry on yours?
Well, I'm part-time, so I don't carry a full-time caseload. So I carry anywhere from 15 to 20 cases actively, although I do a lot of appellate work.
Okay, so you don't handle the court like divorce, child custody
Right.
support, those kinds of things. Second thing is traffic citations,
Right.
where there's like a mandatory jail sentence. Not you ran the red light, you've got a
Right.
parking ticket.
No, we'll get involved when it's a driving while suspended, DUI related,
Okay.
or a driving without a license, which is deemed a habitual offender, because those two carry jail time.
Okay.
But if one runs a red light or is speeding, we don't get involved in that.
PennDOT license suspension. The state's going to take your license away from you for whatever reason.
Correct. That is no jail time. It's driving's a privilege, not a right. So
Medical malpractice. You don't do that. Personal injury. Slander. She said that, I said that, you said
Right.
you're lying. Okay. How about, this is huge with the Human Relations Commission, landlord and tenant disputes, you know.
yes.
Don't get involved in that.
We don't. There's a counterpart in our community, Northwest Legal Services,
Yeah, okay.
and they're the ones that handle the things like landlord-tenant. They, I think, do some custody, some support, but not a lot.
Okay. Okay. The last one I have is the filing of private complaints against another for alleged criminal acts occurring in Erie County.
Right.
Don't do that either.
Don't do that.
Okay. There's quite an extensive list as to the number of people in the household and the amount of money that you make as to whether or not you can qualify for this. And let's go to the very top of the list, at least. The number of members, 1, annual salary, $11,690. That qualifies me, then I'm just by myself. I can use your services because I don't make enough money to really do this by myself. So give me, for example, I'm going to come and you're going to help me because I've been charged with, give me something I've been charged with. I can't afford an attorney.
Simple assault.
And what?
Simple assault.
Simple assault, okay. I've been charged with having too much to drink at the bar and pounding on somebody because they didn't like the Cleveland Browns. You can handle me. You will take me.
So long as you qualify.
Okay, I qualify. Now, I'm going to be found guilty.
Okay.
Sorry, you did a good job, but yeah, the evidence is against me. What's going to happen to me?
Well, in Pennsylvania, and this is not in every state, but in Pennsylvania, you're entitled to a public defender representing you if you choose to appeal that. If you don't like the result of your case, we can appeal it for you.
You can appeal. And let's say that the appeal falls through. What's going to be my punishment? Jail time?
Well,
It
depends.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that. Because, you know, I'm in the movies and on TV, it's all cut and dried, you know.
Well, Pennsylvania is unique in that they have a sentencing grid that the judges receive. The grid has a column for what is called an offense gravity score. So every crime in Pennsylvania is assigned a score.
Okay.
It could range from 0 to, I think, 14 is the highest. Now, every prior conviction a person has is assigned a prior record score.
Okay.
And in that matrix, they come up with a prior record score number for an individual. And it's really where those two lines intersect as to what a standard range sentence is. And ultimately, sentencing is up to the judge. And so if you had a simple assault and pled guilty, say, chances are you wouldn't be sentenced right away. You would come back about 4 weeks later. And in that interim time period, that type of information, prior record, would be developed for the judge. So when you do appear for sentencing, the judge knows all about you, knows if you're working, what your educational level is, do you have mental health history, addiction history, because some people who are engaged in a bar fight, for lack of a better word, instead of jail time, they maybe need probation with treatment. And that allows the judge to do that.
You've both been in the jails before? You have to visit clients in jail?
Yes.
Yeah? What's that like, go to jail?
It's a little jarring. Once you've been there a couple times, you know what to expect. But certainly the first couple times, it's a little, I don't want to say scary, but for lack of a better word, scary to be. I mean, you're locked in too. And if you've never been in one, you need to know what to expect, and to be around those that have been incarcerated, you need to handle yourself appropriately. But I have to say that anytime I've ever been to the Erie County Prison, it's always been a good experience. Not a good experience, but.
Would you ever have an occasion to go to the Albion prison or the prison in Cambridge Springs?
Yes.
I do Albion once. I go to Albion once.
Okay,
a
that's
week.
a state prison, both
State
one
prison.
for women, one for men.
Well, Albion is strictly for men. We would not go to Cambridge Springs because that's in Crawford County. So
that's right.
if somebody needs assistance there, it would be Crawford County, unless sometimes what happens is a person is on state probation or parole, and they catch a new charge. Well, state probation or parole is going to put them in the nearest state facility. So sometimes there are women from Erie County who are down there because of waiting for new charges. But I go to Albion once a week. It is it's less daunting than the first time I went to Camp Hill. I went to Camp Hill probably right before the riots in the late 80s. And after I cleared the intake building, I had to walk by myself probably, 100 yards to get to the building I needed to be in. And that was more scary 5 months later during the riots. But, Albion is...
Have we come a long way in the treatment of prisoners in prison? That's what my general question was leading here.
Well,
I mean, everybody agrees that we have too many mentally disabled people serving in jails. They shouldn't be there.
They shouldn't.
That's a whole show in itself.
Yes, and unfortunately our prisons have become our mental health system.
Yeah, you're right,
Unfortunately.
I would say, I think, Emily, you're right, it's scary. The first time I was there, it's just not a place that you want to go to, and you're representing these people. And again, this is on your left is Emily Mirsky, and in the middle is Pat Kennedy, and these are people from the Public Defender's Office. Emily, Assistant Public Defender. In the middle, Pat is the Public Defender, the Chief Public Defender. And their services are available to you or somebody you know. There's a phone number you can call at 451-6322, or there's a website that you
Yes,
get to?
we're actually linked with the Erie County government website.
ErieCountyGov.org.
A lot of our clients get resources for forms for courts, such as ARD applications, that type of thing.
Again, the numbers, they were telling me $5,200 a year.
$5,200
Make use of your services.
That's true.
That is true.
Amazing.
That's true.
I mean, I'm just amazed that you do this.
The one thing
I'm staggered by the number.
The one thing that people tend to forget. I'm a fan of old movies.
Okay.
And
Me too.
you know, there's that Hollywood line, Ginger Rogers did everything that Fred Astaire did, only backwards and in heels.
And in heels. Mm-hmm.
And we do everything the DA's office does, except without the resources such as the state police, the FBI. It is staggering at times.
Yeah, it is staggering, yeah. Blow your own horn, absolutely. Again, if you have need of a public defender, these are the people that you want to see and or talk to, and if somebody that you know is in need, and there's certain qualifications, as Emily said, the operative word is, it depends.
Yeah.
You may qualify or you may not qualify. They don't do everything for you, but certainly you will know at that time. You get referrals from the court. Okay, the court will say, Mr. Fatika, you have to go see, or the people in the public defender's office, you don't have anybody to defend you, you qualify. And the process begins. Could take 3 weeks, could take 3 months, could take longer.
It depends.
Okay, and you're both glad you became lawyers.
I am. I love what I do.
I can tell that.
I do.
You have a passion in your voice.
You have to.
Yeah.
And you do too.
Yeah, well,
They both have that, you can see it in their eyes, you can hear it in their voices that they love what they do. I see Pat a lot, and I see that walk of determination and that culture that exists in her office, that we are here to serve. And again, you're telling the people that they are what? About the criminal?
the criminal mindset,
Yeah,
you know, it's.
the criminal mindset. Yeah, yeah. Can we ask you, nobody's listening, how many people you get off?
Oh, well,
Tell them your first try.
we had a victory. First
Yep.
time out of the gate for me was
You don't have to name don't name the
Oh,
case.
no.
Don't name your names.
Okay.
But
That had to be,
it was a pretty big win. Yeah, it was. We beat some pretty stiff evidence against him, and you know, a lot of people always ask me, you know, how can you defend people if you know that they're guilty? And this particular person did not admit or deny to me whether or not they were, even though they could, and I can't tell anybody.
right.
And it's not about defending people who are guilty or not guilty. You don't get to pick your clients, especially as a public defender.
Yeah.
But everybody in this country is guaranteed certain rights, and
And thank you.
especially to do our job.
And thank you for the two of you doing that. The
You're
public
welcome.
defenders everywhere? Every county has public
Yes,
defenders?
every county in 1969, the state passed the Public Defenders Act.
Okay.
Has never been updated.
No more debtors' prison?
Well, maybe, but,
It depends.
It depends, but I will say, you know, Pennsylvania is unique in that we are solely reliant upon the county
Yeah.
for our funding.
For our funding. Yeah.
Other states either fund it completely or not,
Okay.
so,
We'll work on that one.
thank you.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Emily.
welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you to you definitely very much. We enjoyed it. This is the Public Defender's Office. Lots of numbers to call. Lots of numbers we'll put up on the screen for you. Thanks for being with us. I'm Phil Fatika. Till next time.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.